Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And there is much shadiness and secrecy at the heart of the SNP. Go figure. But this one relates to a little trip to Dubai. And it isn't COP28. This is a different trip to Dubai that nobody was aware of. This was one that was slipped in under the radar when Neil Gray went to Dubai before COP28. Trying to do international relations, and I can guarantee there would have been no one from the Foreign Office at that point either, because they don't like having the Foreign Office or the Cabinet Office or anyone being there when they're trying to cut deals and make international relations, as they pretend that they are a national government instead of just a regional assembly. I think action must be taken. But the point of this story is not so much that aspect of it as the cost. It's absolutely appalling. 2 days, nearly £10,000. Just so Neil Gray can have a little soiree, a little Beano in the Middle East. Let's take a look. Join the SNP and you can travel the world, apparently, because they do like their international travel. And not for them, of course, the travails of economy class. They are always up the pointy end, in business class or better, supping champagne and scoffing caviar at 30,000 feet while you are sent the bill. And it is thus for Neil Gray, a man who went of course, to Dubai, as I mentioned, for no reason whatsoever, ran up a huge bill, and nobody knows why he went, and nobody knows what he said and what was done, because everything is a secret again, just for a change. And what has he done? And why is he doing it? And what is the point? More importantly, of course, is why are the taxpayers paying? If he needs to travel at all, the bill should always be for the cheapest fare available. And if they want to upgrade, they do so out of their pocket, not yours. Anyway, the Scottish Government officials rack up a £9,000 bill in 2-day trip to Dubai, but it refuses to release the full cost of Neil Gray's junket, so you guarantee it was way more than £9,000. And for what? For what purpose? The SNP Minister for Energy and Wellbeing Secretary headed over to United Arab Emirates for 2 days in October, but his expenses have remained hidden, but will boost the cost up to over £10,000 on the public purse. Because it's very important that the Scottish Energy Minister, a man who is allegedly trying to get rid of oil, rid of gas, all the fossil fuels, and concentrate on wind energy, has to go to the Middle East, which is notoriously filled with oil. To do what? Negotiate oil deals? Seems a bit odd and at variance. And why did he have to fly? Surely if it was just something they needed information on in a conversation, they could have zoomed it and saved everyone a lot of money. And think of all the damage he's done to the environment. The environment that they're trying to save by getting on a big jet and flying that way. It's a bit odd, isn't it? It's a bit odd how they talk about the climate emergency and yet are continually sending themselves all over the world in first class, business class and so on. Because, it's important. It really is important. Or something. Who knows? The Scottish Government has been blasted after it was revealed that officials racked up a huge £9,000 bill, spending just 2 days in the UAE, and the secretive SNP executive refused to provide the full costs of the October junket to Dubai, instead claiming they will be published in 3 months' time, by which time, of course, they will have been hidden and eradicated and things will have gone missing. Wellbeing, Economy and Energy Secretary Neil Gray headed out to the Middle East just weeks before his boss, Hamza Yousaf, and Mary McCallan attended the COP28, flying out on different flights, arriving at different times, so that it wasn't obvious. The trip heralded a huge £150,000 bill when Nicola Sturgeon and her entourage went to Egypt for the 2022 Climate Summit. And so this one will be a lot more. Mr. Gray went to the UAE on October the 25th and 26th to sign a memorandum of understanding to promote trade and strengthen collaboration. Let's have a listen here. To promote trade to the UAE. What's Scotland famous for? Whisky and oil. They're not going to sell a lot of whisky there. Let's be honest. Whisky is not something that they're going to do a big trade deal on, is it? And oil? They want to sell oil to the Arabs? Come off it. So what the hell are you selling to the Arabs? This has got nothing to do with a trade deal and everything to do with a nice little holiday, a little reward for the hard work. Oh, you've been in your office 4 days this week. You best have a holiday. Here, go and spend £10,000 and have a nice little weekend in Dubai. Unbelievable, isn't it? Anyway, the Scottish Daily Express can reveal that the total bill for the Scottish Government officials who accompanied him was £9,071.84, which includes flights, accommodation, in-country transport and claimed expenses. The expensive junket was blasted by the Scottish Tories and everyone else. It should be blasted by every single Scot. If you pay tax in Scotland, you're paying for these wankers to go and do this. Trade. Including trade. What? What trade? What are you selling to the Middle East? Because it ain't oil and it ain't booze. Anyway, Scottish Conservative Deputy Constitution, External Affairs and Culture spokesman, big title, small man, Alexander Stewart, said the cost of Neil Gray's 2-day jaunt to the UAE is bound to raise public eyebrows, especially with Humza Yousaf visiting Dubai for COP28 a few weeks later. And at a time when local councils are crying out for funding and public services are being slashed to the bone, thanks to the SNP's disastrous budget, and I would also say disastrous handling of the economy for the last 17 years, the SNP should be making every effort to keep the cost to the taxpayers to a minimum. No, they don't. They don't care. They literally don't care. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, it's very expensive. Yeah, but it's not coming out of my pocket, so it's fine. The public will be happy to pay that. We know because they keep voting us in. All our SNP voters, they don't care that their kids can't get into hospital. They don't care the schools are falling apart. They are deeply concerned that I don't travel first class 2 or 3 times a year. Mr. Gray faced calls to address human rights with the UAE in his trip, but I bet he didn't because he hasn't got the balls like his boss. And a number of individuals who have criticised the authority there have been detained, including hundreds of activists and academics. Human Rights Watch also warned that the Emirati laws discriminate against women, migrants and LGBT individuals. But that doesn't stop Gray going there and kissing the ring because, it's a holiday. The SNP going on about, we want rights and freedoms and equality, but then sort of hobnob it with people like Erdogan, a killer, with people like the Gazan guy the other day, and now sucking up to these people in the Middle East who are absolute, animals, really, the way they treat other people, the human rights record. They're no different than the National Socialists during the Second World War, effectively. You know what I'm saying. The Scottish Government claimed that Mr. Gray did do this, but I don't believe it because there was no one there from the Foreign Office, number one. And secondly, it's not his place to do it because he's not an internationally accredited person of note. He's not a diplomat. He's not a member of the Foreign Office or the Cabinet Office. They are the ones who deal with foreign officials. The very fact he's going there must be in breach of law. We need to bring this law in. It said that he took the opportunity to raise human rights. Yeah, it'll be like, I've been told to raise human rights, so consider them raised. Now, let's move on. What have we got to eat? That will be the level of it. We know that. Because they're all sneaky. They won't publish anything, and they won't say what they were talking about. And I don't even doubt he'd talk to anyone important. They'd have sent the janitor or something, wouldn't it? Who's this Neil Gray? Don't know, never heard of him. Where's Scotland? Don't know, never heard of it. Okay. Send Arthur over, And Arthur comes over and he's like, oh yeah, what do you want? Yeah, okay, yeah, fine, yeah. Have a cup of sheep's milk or something. Have a sheep's head pie. And that'd have been it. Nobody of import would have actually spoken to Neil Gray because he's not important. Anyway, he said it was agreed to share further insight and intelligence about this work in Scotland. Share intelligence? They haven't got enough to share, have they? And also to learn more about the measures the UAE is taking to tackle issues in their own society. What business is that of Neil Gray. Please tell me what business the Scottish Regional Assembly's energy gobshite has got to do with talking to the UAE on international issues such as human rights. Surely that's not his remit. He may have done far more damage in international relations between the UAE and the UK in one visit that it could have been built up in 15 years of careful, patient diplomacy. And this is why people like him should be kept away and out of international politics. These people are so dumb. Anyway, rounding this off, it was in a summit with Mohammed Al Arawi, the undersecretary, so not even the full secretary, and not even the minister, not even the secretary to the minister, but the undersecretary to the secretary to the minister at the Ministry of Investments of the UAE, after his boss could not make it due to him travelling at the time. Oh yes. And the Scottish, I was right then, it's the bloody janitor, isn't it? Anyway, a Scottish Government spokesman defended the cost and he said all ministerial and officials' travel costs are determined in accordance with the... Yeah, blah, 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 blah. But no one's saying why. No one is saying what is the purpose. Why do you feel you need to have an international presence as a regional assembly? And what are you talking about with trade? Please, we need to know what the hell these people are selling to the Middle East. It's a mystery to me. Coming up. Whatever excuse is given, we know it is absolute BS. He isn't going there on a trade mission. He's going there on a fun little junket. And they're grabbing a few officials, long served, oh, come on, you can come along, have a little bit of fun with us. Blah, blah, blah. We'll pretend it's important. And that way you can get a couple of days, we can do some fun, do a bit of snorkeling, whatever. And we can all pretend that it's this official mission. Oh, what can we use? Oh, we'll do trade. That's always a good one. Okay, yeah, we'll do it. And off they go. And you, the taxpayer, are presented with the bill because they're not going to pay for it themselves. They think they deserve it, this entitlement. And then they come up with this BS about it being a trade mission so that they can sell oil and whiskey to a Muslim Middle Eastern state. Yeah, there's something about it that sounds like completely like a horse shit. Can't quite put my finger on it. Anyway, I shall finish there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.